Hello, everybody, and welcome to our favorites. Woo! Where we like to talk about a actor, director, genre, any collection of movies, and we talk about our favorites in that said category. And it's a gobbly good day here at Slate Studios because we are talking about, that's right, our favorite Thanksgiving movies.
We're not at the studio. We're all at home.
Listen, we're at Slate Studios in our hearts. And that's where it really counts. We're there in our soul.
You got to tell the people why we're not in the studio.
That's true. We are not in the studio, in case you can notice the difference in the sound quality or watching on YouTube. We are recording over Discord because someone had to go and get sick.
It was me.
Someone had to catch the Rona. Nicely done, Jared. Bravo, sir.
Yeah.
Bravo.
That's been fun.
Actually, with how much time...
What?
With how much time we spent with you on Sunday, I'm surprised neither of us got it.
I'm wondering if that's where I got it, because I was sick before I went to work Monday. It was weird. Like, all of a sudden I felt terrible. So I have no idea. I bet you I got it at work probably the day before is my guess.
Yeah.
Because it takes a few days. But that's a whole nother thing.
Anyway, let's get into our favorite Thanksgiving movies, because boy, have we got an interesting collection for you. Now, before we really get into this, I'd like to mention really quick, there are not that many movies that focus around Thanksgiving, so we had to get a little creative with our picks, and you will see that in a second. But first, let's start with Jake's pick, which, like I said, it's just a massive, weird collection of movies that we got for you today. But Jake, what is your favorite Thanksgiving-based movie?
Hey, this is more of a Thanksgiving movie than Bill Murray was. Well, than my Bill Murray pick was, or my baseball pick.
One of your baseball picks. At least you picked a baseball movie with it.
Yeah, I was more just because I would rather talk about that than baseball. But so this was one of my favorite movies from childhood. I watched this over and over and over and over again. It's We're Back, a dinosaur. Is it a dinosaur story or a dinosaur tale?
Yes, story.
Dinosaur story. Okay, so this was a children's companion movie to Jurassic Park. It's what, 75 minutes?
72.
Yeah, in fact, when he's dancing around the Macy's Day Parade, one of the theater that he walks by is playing Jurassic Park.
Yep.
And it was produced by Spielberg too, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Kennedy Marshall also on there, the usuals.
Yeah. So like, I'm gonna sit here. I'm not gonna sit here and try to pretend to you guys that it is some fantastic movie. It's really all over the place and kind of boring and underdeveloped at times. But I love it. I love it so much. Listening to John Goodman sing "Roll Back the Rock," I can't. It makes me warm in my stomach.
I will give you that. John Goodman singing the man has a great voice. And he's John Goodman.
And Walter Cronkite is in it. So I mean, come on.
But Jake,
what did he say? What did he say at the end of the movie that you shake your head and go, "Yep, he had to." Of course, he had to say it. His sign off. What is it?
It was.
My brain is telling me good night and good luck, but I don't think that's it.
I know.
No, that's Murrow.
Yeah. And that's the way the world works, or something like that.
And that's the what is it?
That's the way the world works. Is that what I'm thinking?
Or something? What is it,
yeah.
Jake? You went for journalism, Jake. This is like your favorite.
That was over 10 years ago. I think it's, and that's the way it was, or something, or that's the way it is. It's something really just basic.
He looks right into the camera and says it, and I just kind of did one of these, even though I've already seen it. I forgot about that.
So. To be honest, I thought we had already talked about this on our favorites, because I know I had watched it with you, or I hadn't watched it with you, but but you watched it, Jared. I know when I bought the Blu-ray a couple of years ago.
Yeah, you gave it to me and said, "Here," and I looked to borrow, and it said, "Hey, watch this," and I said, "Oh, okay." And I thought I had seen parts of it, and I don't think I had seen any of it at that point. And watching, and I was like,
it's very underdeveloped.
It's a movie.
Paced pretty terribly. It's just boom, 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 and then they hit the circus thing with the Screw Eyes guy, and it just stops. Yeah, they're moving so fast, and then they hit that, and that's it.
Yeah, go ahead. I just really want to get there's so many weird things about this movie. The one that should not bother me that much, but the one that truly does. Why does it start with him telling a story to sentient birds? What do the birds have to do with anything in this movie?
That's called we don't have enough runtime to get a theatrical release. The bird is also the same voice as Louis.
Just said it.
Also,
watching this, and I know what it's about because I know you told me what this movie is, and I'm like, why are there birds? What's with the birds? I'm so confused.
Also,
playing golf?
Is her name Nancy the voice of Lisa Simpson?
Yeardley Smith
is the voice of the girl that just kind of decides her parents don't love her because they're working. So much of this movie just randomly happens, but I tell you, I just love it. I don't get it. I don't know. Like watching it, especially this time, I love this. I could not figure out why.
You like dinosaurs?
I am the generation that created the dinosaur boom.
Dinosaurs are cool. John Goodman is
cool. Yeah.
So you get John Goodman voicing a dinosaur.
Is this movie cool, Jake?
I'd say it's cool.
I'm glad you like it.
I think cool is about as much praise as I'm willing to give it. It's cool.
And also, speaking of Walter Cronkite, this is not the first thing I've ever seen him voice act in. There's a PBS show when I was growing up called Liberty's Kids, where he was the voice of Benjamin Franklin throughout the whole series.
I didn't know he was the voice of Benjamin Franklin. I remember that show.
Yeah. Oh, it's a great show.
Oh, yeah.
I was just thinking. I think I was watching it this time, like, man, why do I feel like I should be reacting more to Walter Cronkite doing a voice like a character? Oh wait, I've already seen this plenty of times. What am I talking about? Anything to remind me of Liberty's Kids is always a good thing. So I'll give you that, Jake.
Well, and what's funny is I never realized it's based on a book. It's like a 20-page children's book, and knowing that, it makes a lot more sense because it looks like they just took pages of it and just made it into a scene and threw it together.
I wonder if some of the original story meetings and storyboards had more fleshed out things, but maybe for like budgetary restraints, they didn't even get to the animating stage for a lot of it, or didn't even like put it in the script. Like they cut it out before they even got into production. Mm-hmm. So what we're left with is kind of the moments and not the whole thing.
It's like a Marvel movie. Awesome. We have the moments, but not actual story.
You get your big beats that you want, but you don't know how to tie it all together. Yeah.
And it doesn't have quipping, so in that way it's better than Marvel.
But it has again, I can't I'm blanking on the original, the good guy scientist, not Screw Eyes. Or was it Screw Eyes? No, Screw Eyes is the villain.
New Eyes, Captain New Eyes. The bad guy is Professor Screw Eyes. So Captain New Eyes and Professor Screw Eyes.
I feel like I'm nitpicking, absolutely, but let's be real. Come on, really? New Eyes and Screw really?
They're
New
brothers.
Eyes and Screw Eyes?
Hey, step off. They're brothers. I will say one thing that I do really appreciate about the movie is I feel like, especially for the time that I was watching them, or at least in comparison to like your Disney's, the animation is very good and very compelling in what it does.
And also at times very ugly looking.
Where?
I was going to say, yeah.
There's at the beginning where there's like blue tint all over the stuff. It's like, oh my gosh. Because it's supposed to be it's the layer over the backdrop. And there's like blue tint, and I go, oh, that looks so bad. Even if that's on purpose.
I don't remember that.
I saw it this time.
I must not be focusing on it. It must be in the background. That's why you noticed it.
Even like I think the actual like fluidity of the animation's pretty good. And I'm no animator, so this is just dumb me saying that. I think some of the color about it, like especially the backgrounds, look. Actually, no, that works. It's New York, so it's supposed to look dirty. It's New York in the early '90s. I was thinking about that. I'm like, why do the dinosaurs look fine and the humans look all right? Why is like everything in the city and around them look so ugly?
I think it's supposed to
New
be
York
that
City.
way.
Yeah.
The circus thing looked fine, but
I was more talking about like the green smoke from Screw Eyes and all that.
It's very unique. I'll give it that. It is very unique.
I think that was that was a period in time when a lot of animation studios were just throwing random ideas at a wall trying to keep up with Disney, and I get that from this. And for better or for worse, I genuinely enjoy it.
Well, I think it's because Spielberg really likes animation and he wanted his own studio, and that's why he partnered with Don Bluth a few times, but that partnership ended, and so then he started Amblimation, which is We're Back, Balto, and An American Tale 5 Goes West. And then after those 3 movies, then DreamWorks is formed. So this is like this little period where Spielberg had his own studio that predates DreamWorks.
Yeah, really, and it just feels special. Like it's just that feel and that vibe that just not many other like movies have. I don't know, it's so unique. But
also, I want to point out that they how do I say it? Attempted to do the whole 3D asset thing way back in '93.
Yeah,
whether or not it looks like Superman 64 is a different story.
I mean, some of the like the swooping was like, oh, okay, that's.
What I'm specifically talking about where they're flying and they're like flying through the buildings, but like I don't. I love the movie. I don't want to dog on the movie. It has its obvious flaws. I love it.
It is what it is, but
And the only reason it's a Thanksgiving movie too is because it is. Well, I mean, I guess it is on Thanksgiving, but
it takes place
at Macy's Day Parade.
Macy's Day Parade. Yeah.
Me and Jake's picks are loosely Thanksgiving, whereas Dickey's is about Thanksgiving. It's funny.
I think that.
I bet you there's more time on the actual day of Thanksgiving in our movies, Jake, than Dickey's, because Dickey's is about getting to Thanksgiving.
About getting there. Yeah. But speaking of, great segue. Let's talk about the next pick of 3 of us, which is mine. And my favorite Thanksgiving Day movie is all about trying to get to Thanksgiving's Day. It is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. It is an absolute classic. Upon rewatch, I could not stop laughing. It's truly one of the, like, when you get John Candy and you get
Steve Martin.
Oh my God, thank you, Steve Martin. It's just right coming. When you get those two just legends, it's absolute gold. Like every single the best there's so many good scenes. Like I can just rattle them off my head. But like when they're sleeping in bed next to each other, like
that is the one that everybody has talked to me about. And when I tell people that this is the first time that I've watched it.
Ooh, okay.
And that's the scene that everybody remembers. I'm like, what about this one?
It's really early too. It's before the halfway mark.
I am shocked that they had the blowout fight that early in the movie. Like that's the type of fight that feels like I don't want to say climax, but like
it's
the fight at the end that leads to the end.
It's the fallout when you have road movies like this. It's the fallout that happens between the second and third act that kind of set up before the climax. But here we have it right away, and I think it makes it more realistic because, of course, they just snap at him because they're both frustrated, and Steve Martin is like to can't stand him. So I kind of like how it just comes out right away, and it's not just that happens. I like how John Candy says, "You can say that all you want, but I like me." I go, man, that's really good.
Mm-hmm. I like John Candy in this way more than I did in Spaceballs.
That's fair. So like, Jared, what you just mentioned is kind of what I feel like this is a very empowering movie. Like it's like it really like it. I feel like it tries to. The lesson is telling you is like just being confident and comfortable with yourselves, like John Candy is, and like you'll find friends along the way, and you'll just it'll just you probably end up good for you. And I just really like that message. And the ending, it's still like the first couple times I saw this time, it hurts. Like you know it's coming too. Like you can see. I don't know about you guys. Jake, you said it's your first time. Did you see the ending coming where he didn't actually have home to go to?
Yeah. I didn't know that it was going to be her dead. I figured it was either her dead or her having kicked him out. Mostly because you don't carry around a trunk like that.
Yep.
Unless
you don't have a home to go back to.
Yeah, I mean, even a traveling salesman, I don't think.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that thing is huge.
But the bigger question is how he had enough money to get a ticket to be on a flight.
He bribed them with shower curtain.
Yeah, it's a shower.
Del, you can't rent a car with shower curtain rings. Well, somehow your Diners Club card, my wallet, and a whole exchange of you stole it. I knew it. He stole it, and then you took it back and you burned it up. I thought you put it there.
Why would
I put it there?
I will say
kindness.
I will say one thing. So, a couple of the one of, I don't remember exactly when it is, but one of the car scenes when it's at night and they're going up the wrong side of the expressway.
You mean the scene of the movie?
It's so good.
I could swear.
It's so stressful.
I could swear that car did a swerve, and I saw the hubcap of the car come off.
Huh.
I am certain it happened.
Probably. Like that whole scene was like, it was legit stressful. Like I'm watching, like, oh god, god.
It's so well put together too. Just the they hit it, and it's like the skeletons were killing me. The Del is the Delville or whatever people call it when he's dressed up as the. It's so good.
So this may be the first time I've seen the movie, but I'm definitely familiar with some of the scenes, like the Delville. I have seen that all over the place, like everywhere, and I never knew where it was from.
Kind of one of those things you're like, oh, that's what this is from.
Yep.
I love those moments.
The other scene that is that one that I'm thinking of is the classic blow up at the station to get a car where he's just like I want my flipping car and my he's just going off right now. My god!
People have said like they dropped me off like 30 times in 1 minute, and that's the only reason it's an R rating, and it's worth every second.
It absolutely, yeah, you're right. It's probably the only reason. Like, and everything else in this movie is moderately calm. Like, there's no other reason for it to be rated R.
And then right after that, he insults that guy. He's like, "If I wanted a joke, I'd follow you into the John and watch you take a leak." And when the guy picks him up, it's. And then his voice is all squeaky after that.
I know. He keeps talking.
It just sounds like this, but a little higher pitched. I can't do it right now. So,
I think my favorite joke is, and it's so stupid. It's so stupid.
We're all here for it.
My favorite joke is when they're at the final hotel right before they get to.
That's where they're actually having a good time, right? That one.
Mm-hmm. So the next morning when they're snowed in, they're trying to get the car out.
Oh my god!
John Candy's like, "We got a rocket." He just puts it.
And he just smashes through the. That was good. The part that makes me laugh the hardest, that isn't like that funny, is when they stop on the freeway and the trunk just goes flying. It killed me. Just. That destroyed me this time.
It was so good.
No, when they backed up through that hotel, I watched a movie with my wife, and I looked at her and I was like, "Hey, that's you."
How did she take that joke?
No, she agrees with it.
Okay. How did you do this? You're like, hey, that's you.
Specifically getting out of the snow, like
there's only you gotta rock it.
Yep, you gotta rock it. Just yep.
Yeah. I will say. Here you go ahead.
I was gonna say I love the fact that after it is so torched beyond any reasonable, like it still drives. How?
I know.
On earth does that car still drive?
And Michael McKean pulling over, being like, "Yeah, you can't drive this." And he's like, "Well, why?" It's just, yeah. There's a great YouTube channel called Hats Off Entertainment, and he has a video from a couple years ago about like where is the longer cut of this movie, because it exists, and he's proven theory. Like he looks at scenes of the movie, saying like there's more to the scene that's cut out that if you look close you can see, but it's just gone, and they've never had it. But apparently they just announced, or maybe they just put it out, a Blu-ray release that has a lot of the, like 30 minutes of deleted footage, because the original cut is always way long.
Minutes. Wow.
Yeah, that's a lot of time.
Like, there's the one thing is Steve Martin's wife in the movie thinks he's having an affair. That's her whole spiel. Why she's so happy to see Dell is real in that scene is because throughout there were more scenes of her thinking Steve Martin is stepping out on her, and that's why he's late.
Interesting.
Apparently there's more to it, and there's stuff in the trailer that didn't make into the movie. Like, it's a great video. I'll have to send you the link, but there's a whole bunch missing that adds to it, but without it, it still works and is good.
Yeah, I think that was the one part for me that felt kind of disjointed, was that end scene. Like, I was like, why is she so welcoming to this stranger?
Yeah, it's because she sees that Dell is real and not just his excuse for cheating on her, because he's not, but she thinks he is. So that's why she's so relieved. And I think, and again, it works much better if that was in there more. So you just wonder, but then again, it's like, if this movie's 30 minutes longer, is it as good of a movie? Because we don't know what it looks like.
I will also add that while it may make that end scene make a little more sense, I think having her questioning the entire time, I think that it paints him in a little bit more of a darker light than the movie wants him to be in. I don't know if that would have actually worked if she thought it was cheating the entire time. Like, I like that it was a very happy, it was very faithful, good marriage. I think that's what actually made him seem like the better guy, and it kind of like made it more entertaining to watch, at least for me.
Yeah, but we need her in there because that's him calling home.
Yeah,
it's just one of those things where there's so much time spent with her. There's too much time spent with her for us to be like, okay, why are we spending this much time here? But it's because they filmed it with that being in the movie, so you can kind of feel like, okay, it's too much. It's too much to not have as much importance, but it's not enough to like be important. It's kind of in the in between because of what they cut.
Yeah, I would be curious because I feel like I could be entirely wrong with my assumption, but I feel like the majority of this movie is just them giving like script notes to John Candy and Steve Martin, and they're just telling them to like just go for it. So I feel like there's plenty of there's a term for making comedy off, and there's plenty of like improv that did not make the cut at all because these two are just funny as hell and they could just keep going back and forth for hours. Honestly,
yeah. This is a good one.
It is truly, truly a good one. But that is about enough for me. What
did you say? One more thing?
There's one more thing. One very, very important person that we haven't talked about in regards to planes, trains, and automobiles.
Who's that?
Kevin Bacon.
Yep.
Oh, Kevin Bacon!
I cannot believe neither of you mentioned Kevin Bacon.
Because it's Kevin Bacon. I was like, yeah, there's Kevin Bacon.
Until you just, I'm like, wait, Kevin Bacon wasn't it? Like, what? It was this for like 5 minutes?
Like, not even 5 minutes.
Just a little cameo.
Was he big at that point?
I think he was a bit of a star. I think, yeah. I think he had been in at least one John Hughes thing. I think he had broken up with him. I don't know. I'm not up to speed on my bacon lore.
You don't know all 6 degrees?
Yeah. 6 degrees. Shut up.
It's a great game.
Whatever.
Now, this is going to be fun. Me and Jake have both had, moderately lighthearted. Jake has, We're Back. I had classic Planes, Trains, Automobiles. Heartwarming, fun, Thanksgiving movies when you think about Thanksgiving. Jared went with a completely different pick.
Yeah, and it's funny because it's not much shorter than both of your movies combined in runtime.
Yeah, it was like
I think your movies combined is like 10 minutes longer than mine. Oh, my pick is Prisoners, by the way. I'm sitting in the office, and I'm like, okay, Thanksgiving movies. And the first thing that popped up on Google was Prisoners. I go, that's funny. And I'm looking through this list, and I'm like, well, Dickey's already picked the Thanksgiving movie. Jake's going to pick this childhood favorite that is on Thanksgiving. And I'm looking through, I'm like, there's not... I'm going to have to pick Prisoners. Because it starts on Thanksgiving.
It does.
They had Thanksgiving dinner, and then the 2 girls go missing. Mm-hmm. That's how it starts. It has nothing else to do with Thanksgiving. It's like the week and a half from Thanksgiving on. Like that's it basically covers a week, right?
Roughly,
it's been a while since we watched it because of how we had to wait, but
yeah. But yeah, no, that sounds about right.
I had seen this before. What about you guys?
I'd never seen it.
I've seen it before. Denis Villeneuve is one of my faves.
Oh, what an intense movie. What'd you think, Jake?
It's another one of those movies that's hard to say that I enjoyed. I did like it, and that's hard to say too. But man, I don't know. The only thing I can think of in my head when I think about that movie is that shot with Paul Dano in the shower where it's just got that vent and that light just
right there,
his eye, and you just see his eye, and you're like,
Roger Deakins.
Deakins, baby!
Get, like, an award for that performance, because, oh my gosh.
You're talking Paul Dano?
Actually, was Dano?
Did I say Dano? Or Dano?
Yeah, it's Dano. No, the only Oscar nomination was cinematography.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, it deserves more. This is probably Hugh Jackman's best performance by far.
Mm-hmm. Oh my
He's
God,
ever bad. It's just this is his best work, even if it is mostly yelling.
It's got a lot of people in the cast.
Yes, it does.
Yeah,
goodness,
it's stacked. Just in every scene between him and Gyllenhaal, like those two were just. They were acting at the top of their
Gyllenhaal's
doing just so good.
Gyllenhaal's got like the look, and he does the twitch thing, and he barely blinks, or whatever, or blinks too much, or it's been a hot second. It's just he put so much more into this character than it asked of him, and he's so good.
So I know I've talked about it before, but this is another one of those movies that I watch a long time after it has come out that makes me realize that contemporary cinema has just absolutely ruined movies for me because of Jake Gyllenhaal's performance. They had me thinking that he was the culprit the entire time. Especially since every time his ring finger went into hand, they made a point of showing that masonry symbol on his ring.
Mm-hmm. That's what this did a really good job is. It really, like, even when you thought like they had the guy and then like you thought it was Paul Dano for the longest time, and it was like the two like involved. They kept the mystery perfectly. I really like that's like what I think Denis Villeneuve just does that really well in all of his movies. I think he knows, like, how J.J. Abrams has that classic mystery box that he never wants to let everybody know. I think Denis Villeneuve just does that better because he's very I what's the word I'm looking for? It's like, there's a word that's escaping me, but it's very like on purposeful. Like the way that he directs, it just feels like it's very. The other word's escaping me. Anyway. It's a lot of build for nothing. I'm just getting around to saying that I really, really, really like this, and I really like how Villeneuve does with it. And I was actually, have you guys heard the podcast that Roger Deakins has?
No, I don't listen to podcasts.
Well, so Roger Deakins has a podcast, okay, and he was talking about filming this movie, and he was saying that it just came out. Do you remember the one shot of the tree, like towards the beginning, where it's just a slowly moving into the tree? It just seemed kind of ominous, and it just kind of set the tone. You guys remember that shot?
Yeah.
But that was just like they just randomly out of nowhere just picked up, like got the B team together and just decided to film it just because Deakins liked the way that it looked. And I feel like that's just so interesting. Like that just on a whim, he just picks this tree to shoot, and I just think that shot just a really good job of just making this an ominous and dark and dreary tone from a tree. I just thought that was impressive and a cool little tidbit.
Yeah, the best sequence in the entire movie is Jake Gyllenhaal, spoilers of course, driving, I can't remember her name, the daughter's name, to the hospital. That was so well put together, how it looks, how it's edited, and just like he's trying to drive and he's been hit and he's got the blood getting into his eye and he's wiping, and it's like, oh my gosh, I feel this, just the anxiety in the scene and the ticking time bomb up because she's been injected with something lethal, and
they did that like that. The only other thing that I can think matches like this kind of Jake Gyllenhaal energy was you guys remember Nightcrawler?
Yep.
I did not see Nightcrawler.
Yeah.
Nightcrawler's great.
Yeah, I'm getting the same like Gyllenhaal vibe. Like he's just really.
Oh, it's
really
the year
serious.
after this.
Was it really?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize they were that close together. Damn.
Yep.
Because that scene with him driving, you're right, is so good. Oh my god! And I also like the way that it ended, with him hearing.
Yeah,
that's all.
I think that was added late in production. I think the script had him not being heard, but then they changed it during production. And I was just, it's not one of those where it's like, oh, is that better? It's kind of like me going, what do we feel about that change? Do we like that we hear him at the end, or does he deserve to not be found? I don't have a preference. I'm just wondering what you guys think. Do you like him being found? They allude to him being found. Do you like that or no?
I do. I think for all that he did, you still want to feel for him because, his daughter was just kind of gone. And yes, you have to spend that whole movie sitting in the fact that he's going to have to pay for what he's doing somehow. Like they're not just going to let him torture this kid. But does that mean that he deserves to die?
Gotcha. I'm just curious.
And I also think it injects hope into a fairly hopeless movie.
Yeah.
And just enough too. Like I feel like if they would have shown him actually getting out.
Yeah, if you would have seen like Gyllenhaal would have been helping him out. Especially since it is so gut-wrenching to have them like, because they're talking about the car at some point, and he's underneath it at that moment. You're like, oh.
I love the way that they chose that the car where it was, because it's such an easy that's a massive again, I feel like there's terms for these that I can't keep thinking about. I just like having it always in frame. It just that gives so much anxiety to like everyone's like, he's right there, just push the car, just push I just like that. I think they really they pulled that off perfectly.
And then that red herring with David, can't pronounce his name, Polka Dot guy.
Yeah,
I'm looking at it, and I can't say it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but okay, him going into their houses when they weren't home was creepy.
Yeah.
And it's like, really what? Creepy. I don't remember this. It's like, That's where he got the clothes.
Was that really Polka Dot Guy?
Yeah, Dave.
He's also in Dune.
Whoa!
I know. He likes working with He usually pops up in Nolan movies too, right? Like he was in a couple of the Dark Knights.
I think. Yeah, I think you might. He's also in the new Weird Al movie.
Is he really?
Yeah, he plays. Oh man. He plays in one scene. He's the bassist from Queen. I can't think of his name, and that's the joke too. But is it Roger Taylor? Does that sound right? Or he goes, "I'm Roger Taylor from Queen. I'm the bassist from Queen." Oh, I think it's Roger Taylor.
That's funny.
That's what's funny because of course I can't remember his name. But yeah, he was really good, and the snakes. I hate snakes. I hate snakes. And he's just leaving the boxes open. I'm like, put it back. Put it back. No, don't. Oh.
As stressful and anxiety-ridden as that was, the only thing I could think of when it was snakes was Indiana Jones. Obviously, it's like snakes. It has to be snakes. So I'm just like, that's kind of.
So that was one of those moments that took me a while to put together, like after the scene had happened where they find him in the house and he's got the maze written all over the walls and stuff. It took me a while to figure out that, oh, he got away having not solved it. So they have thoroughly damaged him into now he just needs to solve this for his entire life.
Yep. What did you think about the... Oh, you're still talking. Sorry.
It's just a subtle. I don't know if it's plot point, but it's a subtle detail about the lore of the movie that I really appreciate.
Did you see the whole twist with Paul Dano's character, where it's like, oh, he's that first kid that they took, and that's who Jake Gyllenhaal goes to talked to earlier, where she said, yeah, he's just gone one day, and she has the video clip that's the only thing she has of him left, which, another thing about the movie just being bleak, we don't even see the happy reunion, because the movie's not about that, we just see the picture in the newspaper.
Yeah, I didn't catch on to it right away, well, that he was that kid. I did catch on to the fact that he wasn't...
They took him.
It wasn't who they were implying him to be when he said, what do you say? I'm not Alex or something like that.
I'm not Alex. Yep.
Which, like, that's like one of his 10 lines in that movie, and he's got one of the better performances in it.
I feel so bad for him.
I know.
Although I don't know. After seeing him kind of hang that dog, I was pretty upset.
Oh, that's right. You told me that. And then I didn't react at all. I don't know why. Maybe because I read the thing in the credits that said no animals were harmed. I'm kidding, Jake. I'm just picking on you. I think that's why it's like, oh, I don't like that. Well, he's not actually hurting the dog in real life, so I'm okay.
Well, yeah.
Not fun to watch.
I know.
It also kind of sets a tone where you want it to be him, because you see him do, I don't want to say something innocent for, someone who is cognitively not all there, but like it does set a tone to where the movie makes you think it was him for a long time.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
All right, well,
and then there's something I was going to bring up, but I don't remember what it was.
Well, while I talk about my last point, you think about that, Jared. How about that score?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
it was giving me serious, like, Shining-ish vibes.
Mm-hmm.
With the
So I stand by this for, I think, I'm not sure how much I loved Villeneuve before. I really wish. What year you said this came out in? 2013. 13. I really wish I could have seen this in movie theaters, because like I appreciate how, and this is probably again why I got nominated for cinematography. Everything in the houses, like it's bleak. It shouldn't feel like big and powerful, because it's just. Also, where was this based? I feel like this was based in like the Midwest or
think it's Minnesota or Wisconsin.
Minnesota.
They said it, and I can't remember. Again, we were supposed to record this like a week ago. But yeah, it's like Wisconsin or Minnesota.
I just like the bleak and dismal.
I think.
Midwestern.
No, it's Pennsylvania. That's right. It's Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania. Okay, so it's still kind of Midwestern-ish, Pennsylvania-ish. But I just like it. Just stuff that you shouldn't think should be picturesque is, and I just think that's a talent. That's just says how talented Deakins and Villeneuve are when they work together.
Yeah. And they were watching the Lions game because it's Thanksgiving. Did you notice that?
I did notice that. And that's all I was like, yeah, buddy.
It's like, let's see. 2012. Did the Lions win that? No, probably not.
No.
No.
The thought was, how else can we make this depressing? Oh, we have them watch the Lions.
Yeah, although this year...
This year they won 2 games?
3 in a row, baby. 3 in a row.
3 in a row.
Yeah. I just looked it up. The Lions lost the 2012 Thanksgiving game in overtime to Houston, 34-31. So yeah, they lost.
Yep, sounds about right. Anyway, Jerry, you have another point to make?
No, I think that was it.
Oh, okay.
I think it was just the Lions. It's like, oh yeah, that makes sense. It's Thanksgiving.
It was a pretty great tie-in, honestly.
It wasn't a big thing. It was just like, oh yeah, that makes sense.
No, I did like that. That was awesome. All right, you guys. Anything else you want to mention about Prisoners?
Nope.
Awesome. Well, thank you to everybody for listening to today's episode or watching if you're here on YouTube. If you want to follow us on all the social medias, where can they find us, Jared?
Oh, well, you can follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and our funny TikTok. If Twitter's still a thing by this point,
who knows?
Which is in like 2 days from this comes out in like 2 days from now. If Twitter's still around, then you can follow us there. Hopefully. And then also you can listen to us on Google and Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Spotify. Rate us on all those, and then also like and subscribe, comment, ring our bell here on YouTube.
Absolutely. So once again, thank you for listening to today's awesome Thanksgiving episode. Stay tuned for more awesome, gobbly, great content coming your way very soon from all of us here at All Slate Media. Thank you for listening. See you next time.